Have you ever found yourself awake at 3 a.m., lying in bed, in the quiet darkness, unable to fall back asleep? It can be frustrating as you stare at the ceiling, wondering why your body or mind is acting this way. You might think it's just a random occurrence or something that comes with getting older. But the truth is, this experience is much more common than you might realize. It's not just a quirky habit. There's actually more going on than meets the eye. In this video, we're going to explore 5 important reasons why many people, especially as they get older, tend to wake up around 3 a.m. and struggle to go back to sleep. These early morning wake-ups might be trying to tell you something about your health, your body, or your life experience. By the end of this video, you may start to see your sleep patterns in a completely new light. What we're discussing goes beyond simple explanations. The reasons behind waking up at 3 a.m. are deeply connected to your body's physiology, your mental state, and the changes that come with aging, things that most people aren't aware of. We'll talk about how hormone levels change, how your sleep patterns shift as you age, the health issues that can affect your sleep, and even how emotional and social factors might play a role. These are all factors that may be quietly influencing your sleep in ways you might not have considered. We'll approach these topics with respect and honesty, taking into account the life experiences you've had so far. If you've ever woken up in the early hours of the morning and wondered, why is this happening now? Then you're in the right place. Stay with us until the end, because what you'll learn could not only help you sleep better, but also give you a deeper understanding and appreciation of what your body is going through. So, let's dive in and begin this journey together. Number 1, reduced melatonin production. One common reason older adults tend to wake up in the middle of the night, often around 3 a.m., is due to the natural decrease in melatonin production that happens as we age. Melatonin is a hormone that plays a key role in regulating our sleep-wake cycle, sometimes called the body's internal clock. It helps us fall asleep and stay asleep through the night. When we are younger, our bodies usually produce a steady and sufficient amount of melatonin, which allows for long stretches of deep, uninterrupted sleep. However, as we grow older, our bodies gradually produce less of this essential hormone, and that change can start to affect how well we sleep. You may still be able to fall asleep fairly easily at the beginning of the night, especially after a busy day or a calm evening. But by the time the early morning hours roll around, whether it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or even 4 a.m., your body's melatonin levels may drop so low that they're no longer strong enough to keep you in a deep, restful sleep. This can cause you to wake up, not because something specific disturbed you, but because your brain is subtly drifting toward wakefulness without enough melatonin to keep you asleep. It's important to understand that this isn't something you're doing wrong, and it doesn't mean your body is malfunctioning. It simply reflects the natural shifts that happen as part of the aging process. Your body's chemistry changes with time, and melatonin production is one part of that. What can make this situation even trickier is that your sleep environment might be unintentionally contributing to the problem. As we age, our bodies can become more sensitive to small environmental triggers that we might have ignored when we were younger, even tiny amounts of light, like the glow of a street lamp sneaking in through the window, the blinking numbers on a bedside clock, or light from a hallway under the door, can suppress melatonin even further, making it even harder to stay asleep during the early morning hours. To understand how this might feel, imagine a man named Jack. Jack is 70 years old and has always considered himself someone who sleeps pretty well. But lately he's been waking up around 3:15 a.m. almost every night. He isn't stressed or worried when it happens. He just feels wide awake, as if it's time to start the day. At first, Jack was frustrated and wondered if something was wrong with him. But once he learned that this early waking could be linked to his body's reduced melatonin production, he realized it wasn't his fault. It was just a natural part of getting older. Armed with this new understanding, Jack decided to make some small adjustments to support his body's sleep cycle. He started keeping his bedroom as dark as possible by using blackout curtains and turning off any blinking lights. He also began avoiding screens like his phone and television for at least an hour before bedtime, since the blue light from screens can reduce melatonin even more. In addition, Jack began taking short evening walks to help his body align better with the natural rhythm of day and night. These simple changes have made a real difference. While Jack still wakes up early on occasion, he no longer feels frustrated or defeated. Instead, he's learned to work with his body rather than against it. This kind of understanding can be truly life-changing when you realize that waking up early isn't necessarily your fault, but rather a normal chemical shift in your body. It becomes easier to approach the situation with patience and compassion. Instead of feeling frustrated, you can take small, practical steps to support your sleep and give your body the signals it needs to rest well. That's the power of awareness. It can transform feelings of irritation into self-acceptance and help you make thoughtful, positive changes to improve your sleep over time. Number 2, changes in deep sleep patterns. Another common reason why older adults wake up in the early hours of the morning is connected to the way your body moves through different stages of sleep and how that process changes as you grow older. When you're young, your sleep is often deep and restful, with long periods of what's known as deep sleep. This is the stage of sleep that leaves you feeling refreshed, full of energy, and mentally sharp when you wake up in the morning. Deep sleep plays a vital role in helping your body recover, repair itself, and even clear away toxins from your brain. However, as you age, your body naturally starts spending less time in deep sleep and more time in lighter stages of sleep. This shift can make a big difference in how well you sleep, because lighter sleep means you're more likely to wake up during the night. Small things, like a slight noise, a little discomfort, or even your own thoughts, can pull you out of sleep more easily. This change is a normal part of the aging process, but it can be frustrating, especially if you were used to being a deep sleeper who could snooze soundly through the night without waking up. It's almost as though your body becomes a bit more alert during the night, ready to wake up at the slightest trigger. This lighter sleep might make you notice things that didn't bother you before, like feeling too warm, needing to use the bathroom, or being thirsty. When you were younger and spending more time in deep sleep, you may have slept through those sensations without even realizing they were there. Let's imagine a woman named Elena, who is 68 years old and has recently started waking up around 3 a.m. every night. When she was younger, Elena could easily sleep for 8 solid hours and wake up feeling great. But lately, even though she still falls asleep quickly, she finds herself waking up after just 5 or 6 hours, unable to drift back to sleep. At first, Elena felt frustrated and blamed herself, thinking something was wrong. It wasn't until she learned about the natural changes in sleep patterns that come with age that she realized this wasn't her fault. It was simply her body adjusting to new rhythms. Once Elena understood that her lighter sleep was part of a natural process, she decided to make a few small changes to improve the quality of her rest. She started by cooling down her bedroom at night, which helped her body stay more comfortable and made it easier for her to slip into deeper sleep. She also began practicing a short meditation before bed to calm her mind and help her relax. But perhaps the most important change Elena made was her mindset. She stopped worrying so much about waking up in the middle of the night. Just letting go of that anxiety helped her feel more at peace, even on nights when her sleep wasn't perfect. This shift in attitude is important because worrying about sleep can actually make things worse. When you wake up at 3 a.m. and start stressing about it, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which make you feel more awake and make it harder to fall back asleep. But when you understand that occasional waking is just part of how sleep changes with age, it becomes easier to stay calm and patient. Sometimes, when you stop fighting against those early wake-ups and allow your body to relax, you might find that you drift back to sleep more easily than you expected. And even if you don't, understanding what's happening and knowing it's a normal part of aging can help you feel less frustrated and more compassionate toward yourself. That sense of calm can make a big difference in how you experience your nights and your mornings too. Number 3, hormonal changes and cortisol levels. Hormones play a major role in how we sleep. And as we grow older, they change in ways that can make waking up at 3 a.m. more common. One hormone that has a particularly big impact on this is called cortisol. Cortisol is often known as the stress hormone because your body releases it when you're feeling stressed. But it also has another important job. It helps regulate your energy throughout the day. Normally, cortisol follows a natural daily rhythm. It stays low at night when you're supposed to be asleep and then starts to rise in the early morning to help you wake up feeling refreshed and alert. However, as we age, this cortisol rhythm can sometimes get a little out of sync. Instead of rising at the right time, like around dawn, it may start spiking earlier than it should, pulling you out of sleep at 3 or 4 a.m. This can cause you to wake up feeling wide awake, even though your body still feels tired and you really need more rest. Why does this happen? There can be many reasons. Hormonal changes that happen during menopause for women or andropause for men can affect cortisol rhythms. Stress also plays a big role, whether it's ongoing stress from daily life or even old patterns of disrupted sleep that your body has gotten used to over the years. Whatever the cause, these early cortisol spikes aren't just random. They're connected to the body's internal clock, which naturally changes as we get older. Let's think about someone like James, who's 72 years old. James has always been a bit of a thinker and sometimes worries a lot, especially when life gets stressful. He notices that when he has a tough day, he often wakes up around 3:30 a.m., even though he didn't feel particularly stressed when he went to bed. After learning about cortisol and how it affects sleep, James started to pay more attention to how he unwinds in the evening. To help calm his mind and balance his cortisol levels, he made a few small but meaningful changes. He added a calming herbal tea to his bedtime routine, one without caffeine, of course. He also started journaling for a few minutes before bed to help get any lingering thoughts or worries out of his head. And he stopped watching the late-night news, which he realized was quietly raising his stress levels and keeping his cortisol high. Over time, these small adjustments made a noticeable difference. James found that he was waking up less often in the early morning, and even when he did, he felt more peaceful and was able to drift back to sleep more easily. This kind of understanding can be really empowering when you know that cortisol might be causing your early wake-ups. You can take steps to support your body and manage your stress in a healthier way. You might not always be able to avoid stress entirely, but by making thoughtful choices, like creating a calming evening routine or cutting back on things that trigger stress, you can help your body maintain a more balanced cortisol rhythm. And that can make a big difference in how well you sleep and how rested you feel in the morning. Number 4, the bladder factor. As we get older, many people notice that their bladder becomes a bit more active at night. And this is one of the main reasons why waking up around 3 a.m. becomes so common. It's just part of the natural changes that happen as we age. What's going on here? Well, several things might be at play. One reason is that the muscles that control the bladder can weaken over time, making you feel like you need to use the bathroom more often, even if your bladder isn't very full. Hormonal changes can also make your bladder more sensitive, increasing that urge. On top of that, some medications, like those used to manage blood pressure, can lead to more frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom, which doesn't help the situation either. All of these factors can add up, making it harder to stay asleep through the night. Take someone like Susan, who is 67. She's noticed that she often wakes up around 3 a.m. because she suddenly feels the urge to pee. Before, she would sleep right through the night without thinking about it, but now, even if she tries to go back to sleep, the feeling is just too uncomfortable to ignore. At first, this really frustrated Susan because she felt like her sleep was constantly being interrupted. But after learning that this is a common part of aging, she realized it wasn't something unusual, and she didn't have to feel embarrassed about it. Susan also found that there are some simple things she can do to help manage the situation. She started by cutting back on how much water and other drinks she has in the 2 hours before bedtime, which made a noticeable difference. She also makes sure to fully empty her bladder right before she goes to bed, which helps her sleep for longer stretches without interruptions. And after talking to her doctor, she discovered that one of her medications might be contributing to the problem, so they adjusted the timing of her dose. These small changes helped her wake up less often during the night, and when she did wake up, it didn't feel quite as disruptive. It's really important to understand that needing to get up to use the bathroom at night, a condition known as nocturia, is incredibly common. In fact, millions of people deal with it, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. The key is to recognize that this is just one of the ways your body's needs change as you age. By understanding what's happening and making small adjustments to your habits, you can regain some control over your sleep and feel more rested and comfortable. Knowing your body better is the first step toward taking care of yourself in a way that works for you. Number 5, lifestyle habits and evening routine. The way you spend your evenings can have a huge impact on whether you sleep peacefully through the night or find yourself waking up in the early morning. Sometimes the habits we don't think twice about, like checking our phones, sipping an evening cup of coffee, or having a late-night snack, can quietly interfere with our sleep without us even realizing it. The good news is that making a few small changes to your evening routine might help you rest more soundly. Take screens, for example. Many of us are glued to our phones, tablets, or TVs before bed. Whether it's scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows, or checking emails, this kind of screen time can trick your brain into staying alert when it should be winding down. That's because the blue light from these devices disrupts the body's natural production of melatonin, the hormone that helps us fall asleep and stay asleep. This was something Emma, a 66-year-old retiree, struggled with for a while. She used to scroll through her phone right before bed, thinking it would help her relax, but instead she found herself waking up at odd hours. Once she set a digital sunset and switched to reading a book or listening to calming music instead, she noticed that her sleep started to improve. Another common sleep disruptor is caffeine. Many people enjoy an afternoon coffee or tea without realizing that caffeine can stay in the body for hours, sometimes affecting sleep, even if it's consumed in the late afternoon. Alcohol can also be sneaky. While a glass of wine might help you feel sleepy at first, it can cause your sleep to become lighter and more fragmented later in the night. Take Ben, for example. He's 70 and used to enjoy a small glass of wine with dinner. But after learning that alcohol might be affecting his sleep, he decided to skip it a few nights a week. He noticed that on those nights, he felt more rested and refreshed in the morning. What and when you eat can also make a difference. Eating a big, heavy meal right before bed can lead to discomfort, indigestion, or even acid reflux, all of which can wake you up in the middle of the night. Sarah, a 68-year-old grandmother, used to snack on rich, spicy foods while watching TV in the evening and found herself waking up at 3 a.m. feeling uncomfortable. Now she tries to have her last meal a couple of hours before bedtime. And if she gets hungry later, she opts for something light and sleep-friendly, like a small handful of almonds or a banana. Of course, one of the biggest sleep disruptors is something we all deal with from time to time: stress. Many people find themselves lying in bed, replaying conversations, worrying about their to-do list, or thinking about things beyond their control. This kind of overthinking can make it hard to drift off or can cause you to wake up in the middle of the night, feeling wide awake. For John, a 65-year-old former teacher, this was a big issue. He used to lie awake at night, worrying about everything from his health to his family's future. But after starting a simple bedtime routine that included deep breathing exercises and writing down his thoughts in a journal, he found it easier to calm his mind and fall asleep. The key takeaway here is that your evening habits matter. Whether it's turning off screens a little earlier, cutting back on caffeine, eating lighter in the evenings, or finding ways to reduce stress, even small tweaks can make a big difference. When you take steps to create a peaceful, relaxing bedtime routine, you're sending your body and brain the message that it's time to rest, and that can help you sleep more deeply and wake up feeling more refreshed. Number 6, the power of acceptance and mindset. Shifts. Sometimes improving your sleep isn't just about changing your bedtime routine or fixing external factors. It's about changing how you think and feel when you wake up in the middle of the night. This might seem surprising at first, but your mindset plays a powerful role in how easily you fall back asleep after waking up, especially around 3 a.m. If you wake up and immediately feel stressed, frustrated, or worried about the lost sleep, it can actually make things worse by keeping you alert and tense. But what if you tried a different approach? Imagine waking up at 3 a.m. and instead of panicking or counting how many hours are left until morning, you stayed calm and accepted the moment for what it was. You might think, okay, I'm awake right now, and that's okay. This simple change in how you respond can ease the tension in your body and mind, helping you relax and giving your body a chance to fall asleep naturally again. This kind of calm, accepting attitude is part of something called non-striving, a concept that comes from mindfulness meditation. The idea is to stop trying so hard to force sleep and instead just be present with whatever is happening. When you stop struggling against wakefulness, it often becomes easier to slip back into sleep on its own. Let's take an example. Meet Jack, who's 71 and has been waking up in the early hours of the morning for years. At first, he used to toss and turn, growing more and more frustrated as the minutes ticked by. But after learning about mindfulness, he tried a new approach. When Jack wakes up now, he takes a few slow, deep breaths and reminds himself that it's okay to be awake for a little while. He might do a simple breathing exercise, focusing on the gentle rhythm of his inhale and exhale. Sometimes he does a body scan, quietly noticing how each part of his body feels from his toes to the top of his head, without judging or trying to change anything. If his mind starts to wander or worry, Jack gently brings his attention back to the present moment. He might even think about a few things he's grateful for, like the cozy feeling of his blankets or the quiet stillness of the night. Surprisingly, by letting go of the pressure to fall back asleep, Jack often finds that sleep returns naturally. The key here is to approach these wakeful moments with curiosity and kindness instead of frustration. When you stop viewing early morning awakenings as a problem to be solved and start seeing them as part of the natural rhythm of sleep, it can change the whole experience. You might not fall asleep immediately every time, but you'll feel more at peace. And that sense of calm can help your body relax enough to drift off again. In the end, the power of acceptance and a gentle mindset shift can be a game changer. Sleep isn't something you can force, but when you create a peaceful inner environment, you're giving yourself the best chance to rest deeply, whether you stay awake for a little while or slip back into sleep right away. It's about learning to work with your body, not against it. And that can make all the difference. When to seek professional help. There are times when waking up in the middle of the night is nothing to worry about, but if it's happening every night at the same time, like 3 a.m., and it's starting to affect your health, mood, or how you feel during the day, it might be time to seek help from a healthcare professional. Occasional sleep disruptions are common, especially as we get older. But when sleep problems become persistent, they could be linked to an underlying issue. Conditions like sleep apnea, insomnia, or restless leg syndrome are just a few examples that could be interfering with your ability to stay asleep through the night. Take Sarah, for instance. She's 65 and started noticing that her sleep felt broken and shallow. She found herself waking up every night at nearly the exact same time, feeling restless and groggy in the morning. After talking to her doctor, Sarah learned that she had sleep apnea, a condition that was affecting her breathing during sleep. By addressing the root cause, she was able to make changes that improved her sleep and left her feeling more energized during the day. Healthcare professionals can help you explore what's going on and recommend treatments that might make a real difference. This could include things like cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI, which helps rewire the way you think about sleep, or even a sleep study to get a deeper look at your body's sleep patterns. Sometimes a small intervention, like adjusting medications or improving your sleep environment, can lead to better, deeper rest. As we come to the end of this discussion, it's important to remember that changes in sleep are a normal part of aging. Your sleep needs and patterns may evolve, and that's okay. There are plenty of small but meaningful steps you can take to improve your sleep, whether that's adjusting your evening routine, learning to manage stress more effectively, or simply accepting that occasional wake-ups are part of the process. What matters most is how you respond to these changes. Try to approach your sleep with patience and self-compassion. Be kind to yourself, and remember that you're not alone. Many people experience similar sleep challenges as they get older. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means that your body is adapting, and you can adapt alongside it. With curiosity, a bit of effort, and a willingness to listen to what your body needs, you can find new ways to get the restful, refreshing sleep you deserve. So here's to embracing your changing rhythms, getting the rest your body craves, and waking up each morning feeling ready to take on the day. Sweet dreams, and may your nights bring you peace, and your mornings bring you energy.